Today we're starting with toilet paper.
I thought Kleenex already produces really good toilet paper until I saw this brand on Amazon.
I mean, look at that. A toilet paper that will alleviate your self-worth and make you pause and appreciate the small things in life.
And the brand is Charmin.
Wow! Charmin Ultra Soft Smooth Tears.
The #1 top-rated toilet paper on Amazon.
I choose my products very carefully, and that is certainly true in the case of toilet paper. Now, I've got some products here that I want to talk about.
But today, we're going to talk about more than just Charmin. We're looking into whoever that's behind them, creating all these great products.
Wait.
Procter Gamble? That's the same company that invented laundry pots, whitening strips, and one-time mops.
But what is really strange is that Procter & Gamble has an unusually high hit rate.
Think about the probability of launching a successful product. First, you need someone having the problem, let's say 50%. 40% would actually pay to solve it. And out of that, only some would be able to find the product at the right time and at the right place. And then out of the people that bought it, 70% of them actually love the product. And taking all that probability together, we only have less than 5% of success. But that's not true for Procter & Gamble. Clearly, they're doing something different.
And if I can figure out their playbook,
in the last decades, most of Procter & Gamble's growth came from one period, and that exact same time period is when A.G. Lafley was their CEO.
In my own case, I was an accidental CEO.
He became the CEO when the last CEO suddenly resigned. By then, the company had issued 4 profit warnings in just 2 quarters, its stock had dropped by half in just 6 months, and everyone on the street was expecting the worst from P&G.
The worst thing that can happen is that you're successful, because then you become content.
He decided to focus on a few categories and exit all the other ones. But that's not normal. Most CEOs grade themselves on size and growth. It is very rare to see a public company systematically shrink themselves. So why did he exit all those categories?
The food and beverage businesses were slower growing. They were more local. We preferred businesses that we could globalize. More importantly, most food businesses are fundamentally commodities. They didn't play to our innovation strength.
I still don't fully get it, so I looked into another article and he explains it using the hedgehog concept from Jim Collins.
A hedgehog concept is when you find the intersection of what you are passionate about, what you can be the best in the world at, and what best drives your economic engine.
That makes sense. But how are they going to win in these chosen categories? And I found his blog. Initially, I thought there's no way he has a blog, but it is his blog. In his How to Win article, he made it very clear that there are only 2 ways to win.
A company has to have something it can do better than its rivals that it can protect from imitation. That is, that to be a superior performer in your industry, you've got to have a sustainable competitive advantage. There are 2 basic types of competitive advantage that any company can possess. One is low cost. The company can be lower cost in designing and producing and delivering and marketing its products than its competitors. It has lower cost and therefore it can earn superior margins and therefore superior performance. Now, the other kind of competitive advantage is what I like to call differentiation. A company that's differentiated is able to provide some kind of unique benefit that its customer thinks is important. And because it's unique in an important area, its customer is willing to pay at a premium price. And that premium price leads to superior margins and, in turn, superior performance.
P&G has always been trying to differentiate their products through innovation. But the problem was, even though they spend the most time and money on R&D, the innovation success rate was capped at 35%.
We were great at patenting. We weren't getting it commercialized. We weren't connecting it to consumers and markets. We were sort of doing a handoff innovation process. So what do I mean by that? The PhD chemists would work together in their upstream research labs. If they identified a new molecule or compound, they would sort of hand it over the wall to the chemical engineers.
That's the problem. Everything started from their labs, not from trying to solve a customer's problem. And great companies know that.
You've got to start with the customer experience and work backwards to the technology. You can't start with the technology and try to figure out where you're going to try to sell it. And I've made this mistake probably more than anybody else in this room. And I've got the scar tissue to prove it. And I know that it's the case. And as we have tried to come up with a strategy and a vision for Apple, it started with what incredible benefits can we give to the customer? Where can we take the customer? Not starting with, let's sit down with the engineers and figure out what awesome technology we have, and then how are we going to market that?
Innovation is not the idea. It's not the invention. You don't have an innovation until she's willing to part with her hard-earned money for that new product.
So he took their customers very seriously.
Your customer, who is your customer? Do you really know who she is or he is? Or if you're in a B2B world, do you know who your best business customers are and what their real needs and wants are? Everything begins and ends with the customer.
The thing is, every single company would think that they understand their customers really well.
But I bet none of them would do what AG did.
We spend a lot of time with one woman in her household, and you go in depth.
And it is only after they found solvable problems from their customers, their lab should then start working on prototypes.
And then beginning to expose those concepts and prototypes with your customer. So they can see them, they can touch them, they can use them, and they can begin to give you feedback on whether they like it and whether it meets their needs and wants.
But this alone is not enough to change the fact that
Innovation is a very risky business. Most innovations fail.
P&G would spend years on working on an idea and then later found out that it didn't work.
Look, in my industry, 80 to 85% of all new brands and products that are introduced into channels this year will have failed and be out of distribution 3 years from now.
But what if they stop it here and change it? This way, they could test more, fail more, iterate much faster so that they could increase their chance of success.
It's a really important insight that I didn't come to right away in life. You have to fail a lot to learn how to succeed. You have to lose a lot to learn how to win.
So the key here is actually to explore as many ideas as you can, and then maybe there will be one that's great. But there's no way for the internal R&D team to test hundreds of ideas at the same time. So he opened up P&G, launching, connect, and develop.
When we started Connect and Develop in 2000, 2001, only about 10 to 15% of our new product innovation had one or more external partner, including suppliers. Today, that would be 50, 60, 70%.
Wow. P&G officially became an open innovation platform.
The innovation spark, the idea comes from everywhere and anywhere, and we've got to get a look at the ones that are relevant and important to our businesses. What we're pretty good at is the development side. We're pretty good at the development and qualification of household and personal care products and brands. But the ideas we have to be open to them coming from anywhere.
But doing all that was still not enough to stop online D2C disruptors like this one.
What is DollarShaveClub.com? Well, for $1 a month, we send high-quality razors right to your door.
The best defense is offense.
He decided to attack startups with startups, launching P&G Ventures.
Yeah, we're not a traditional corporate venture arm. We're really a startup studio. And that's really about partnering with entrepreneurs and inventors in new and different ways. I do believe the next billion-dollar business is going to become the best of the startup world and the best of the enterprise world. And that's what we're trying to do at P&G Ventures.
No wonder all these new, fancy digital D2C brands could kill Estee Lauder, but not P&G. P&G is not just a consumer brand business. AG has changed it to an open innovation platform business combined with a VC model. And I'm starting to think, the best consumer companies are not really a consumer company. Kind of like Sephora, it looks like they're just a retailer, but they are not just a retailer.